Hello, I'm John Anderson. I'm here today at Tom's Paddock in Glenburn, Victoria, talking to the business owner, Tom. Tom, tell us about your business. When did the journey begin?
I guess I've been interested in the environment from a very, very young age. My family's always been invested in the natural environment and, as an extension of the farm here, agriculture. So we're here on Tungarong country, which is our First Nations people were part of the Kulin Nation. And I guess the history of the land here is that it was stewarded by our First Nations people for tens of thousands of years, and then in around 1860 the first settlers settled this property here.
Tom, I believe you've changed your farming practices to regenerative farming. Could you give us an explanation of what you're doing so far?
Yeah, regenerative agriculture to me means actively trying to rebuild the ecological systems in our farming environment. So not just sustaining what we currently have, but actually rebuilding and enhancing. So things like increasing biodiversity, can enrich soil, improve watersheds, and enhance ecological services. So there's a lot in that, and there are some really incredible productivity benefits from doing that, economically, environmentally, and also socially. So what we started with here with my grandparents started a cattle breeding operation, and they were set stocking in fairly large paddocks across the farm. When my mother took over the property, we then moved to a calendar rotational grazing system, which was really based on the idea that the herd that we had currently needed around 2 hectares of pasture for around 2 days, and we didn't deviate from that at all. Every 2 days they were shifted to a new paddock. What I've learnt over the last kind of 10 years of doing a holistic planned grazing method is that there's a hell of a lot of nuance to the environment, and the more you simplify things, the less resilient the system becomes. So now I am actually changing the size of the paddocks to suit the season and also the requirements of the animal, and moving much quicker sometimes and much slower at other times. So the time component of the grazing is really what I focus on.
What role do the cattle play in your farming practices?
Yeah, the cattle are really pivotal in grassland systems. They're the mowers. They get the bulk of the material off throughout the year. They process it, produce beautiful meat, and also put that carbon that's been grown through photosynthesis back onto the surface of the soil so that we can feed microbes with them. They're absolutely critical in dryland, brittle environments like we have in Australia. So chukpu is really high nitrogen fertiliser. So it's really important to move the chickens rapidly so that it doesn't accumulate under the trailers. Every 3 days these chooks are moving to a fresh area that distributes the manure, and we give it a really, really long rest period before they come back to this area. It'll be 6 months before they come back to this location right here. So this is one of the chicken trailers, John. We can, at night, about 450 chickens can huddle into here. You can see there's roosts, which is lovely. That gets them up off the ground. You'll notice there's no floor in here. That's because we really want the chook poo on the soil. So chickens that are out on pasture and are moving regularly are extremely, extremely healthy. I check these chickens regularly for lice. I've never seen any on them. They don't get any antibiotics. It's just fresh air, sunshine, a really mixed diet of grass and insects and some grain as well. And they're just no fuss at all. Really healthy birds.